Steam is arguably the largest distributor of digital PC games, and I mean, it's really not arguable. They literally are. Valve has been drowning in cash for roughly 2 decades, and even with some competition here and there, especially recently, they just continue to absolutely dominate. People really like Steam. There are problems, but ultimately people really just enjoy having all their games together in one centralized hub. I mean, I do. Luckily, you can add non-Steam games, so you can still enjoy all those Epic Game Store exclusives directly from the convenience of your own library, but I mean, it just won't integrate into your profile or track your playtime or, you know, a lot of other stuff. But it looks great with grid view. Does anyone else actually use Steam's grid view option? Because I just gotta say, personally, I think it's gorgeous. It's honestly beautiful, and the fact that you can display any image you want for any of your Steam games is probably one of my favorite features across all of Steam. That and bragging about all the weird achievements I have from games that no one's really played. But I just wanted to take a second and just shill grid view, because if you haven't tried it, honestly do it. There's something really validating about making your own grid view icon for a Steam game. It's really fun. It's a bit of a dumb hobby I've taken up the past year or so. But Steam isn't perfect. In the past, they have just removed games from the store. But why? Well, that's exactly what I intend to look into today. So join me as I delve into games removed from Steam. The literal digital limbo that is games that have been taken from Steam. Games that are now off of Steam. Games that were removed from Steam. Join Adam as he talks about Ow. Delisted games are weird because even after a delisting, sometimes you can still sorry, I'm out of breath. Sometimes you can still search for the game and have it come up on Steam in the search results, but you just won't be able to buy it. And in that case, and even if the game no longer even comes up in Steam search, if you had purchased it prior, you'll still be able to download and play it with no problems. Which is a good thing, because if you couldn't access the product that you rightfully purchased, that'd be, not great. You know, that scenario I think I'd define as immoral at best. So games can be taken off Steam for a whole lot of reasons, whether that be licensing issues, having any sort of spicy visuals in the human body department, having a remake on the way, threatening to kill Gabe Newell, being so rough the developers themselves decided to pull the plug, a studio basically going under, or referencing Winnie the Pooh when you're making commentary on China. Oh yeah, or if the devs get a much bigger revenue cut with another distributor and they pay them for, you know, like an exclusivity deal type thing, which honestly I don't even blame them for in most cases. The whole Epic thing, I basically just look at it in an individual case-by-case basis because it varies wildly. So there's a lot going on here, but what I wanted to do today is take a look at some cases that not many people seem to be talking about, at least as far as I'm aware. First up, we got Alice Madness Returns, delisted on April 16th, 2018, according to delistedgames.com. Which is weird because you can find Reddit and forum posts detailing its unavailability as far back as September 2016. It seems like that's when it was officially made unavailable for purchase. You might have still been able to search for it within that time period. At least that's what I think. For those unaware, this was a sequel to American McGee's Alice, a darker take on, you know, the classic Alice in Wonderland. I haven't played Madness Returns myself. I've put a few hours into the first one a couple years ago. It was fine, it was a good time. It was a 3D platformer, and you know, if you know me, you know I love 3D platformers. This one's interesting because I had a hard time finding official information or coverage about this. Well, not necessarily coverage, there were some publications talking about it, but apparently lots of people had issues with their keys working on Steam at all, like only for them to work on Origin if they tried to use them on there to redeem the game. So it's just strange. Delisted Games states that according to Steam community forum posts, it was removed to incentivize purchase from Origin. You know, the digital storefront owned by EA, the publisher of the game, which, that's bizarre. I mean, I guess they're within their rights to do that. It's just strange for them to just pull it from a storefront. I feel like that's just getting less sales, but they kind of get more money that way, so I guess I understand it in that regard, but it's kind of stinky. EA Sports. They took the game. I said this one was interesting, but, you know, not everyone would find it that. I still think it's neat just because of how little official information I could find about the whole situation. I did find this old PC Gamer article from 2011 talking about how apparently it took a couple of days for Steam to actually list Madness Returns, citing a statement from EA's PR director at the time. EA partners and Spicy Horse Games appreciate Steam's decision to sell Alice Madness Returns. The game is also available on several other download services, including Amazon, GameStop, and Origin.com. The article also refers to how hot and cold Steam and EA appeared to be to each other at the time, saying first they're buddy-buddy, then EA launches Origin, and games start disappearing off of Steam. It's like when your parents are fighting, but you clearly have a side. In the battle of giant corporations, I think most of us would agree that Valve is the preferred party in this case. So I just picture EA, the husband, coming home from work all high-strung, and Valve, the stable, formidable housewife, just being there and, you know, just going at each other in the dining room. And you, the consumer, laying in bed in your room trying to pretend that you don't hear every single word. Also, why is dining room the whitest sounding phrase to me right now? What a weird time capsule this article is. Luckily, Alice Madness Returns is still available on Origin. You can find digital copies on the Xbox Marketplace and the PlayStation Store. And, you know, if you want, you can find physical copies online used that really won't break the bank. So, yeah.
And American McGee, even right now, is trying to get a third game off the ground, Alice Asylum, doing so using Patreon to help crowdsource pre-production. I supported it at one point, got this cool card from it. It's neat.
Next. Second up, we have a big, beloved title from Telltale Games, one that helped really put them on the map in the early 2010s. I'm talking, of course, about Back to the Future the game. Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorite movie franchises. They were some of the films I would just re-watch over and over again as a kid. I mean, I'd consider them the epitome of 80s cinema, and essential for anyone interested in films of that time because wow, are these movies great. But how about the 2010 Telltale Games adventure title? Well, have you ever found yourself sitting around and thinking, wow, I sure wish there was a fourth Back to the Future film? Well, you're in luck, because apparently, from what I've heard over the years about the reception of Back to the Future the game, it's basically that. I really waited to get my hands on it too. I want to say I even first heard about it back when Nintendo Power was still a thing. I think I read about it in that magazine. I have no idea what issue it was in, otherwise, you know, I'd show it, but I am not going through all my Nintendo Powers just to find that right now. So, sorry, that would have been cool, but it ain't happening. The good old days, dude. Like lounging on the front porch, playing Super Mario 64 DS on my Nintendo DS Lite next to my pile of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, only taking breaks to read about video games that I will never ever play. Good times, dude. But luckily, my copy's tied to my Steam account, so unlike Alice, I actually can say that I have this one. But there's one problem. I haven't played it. I didn't feel all that obligated to really give this one a shot when this is mostly an informative video. Plus, the general reception to the game over the years, I think mostly speaks for itself. Even while owning it on Steam, I still want to get my hands on a copy of the 30th anniversary reprint re-release on current gen consoles they've done. It looks so cool. That box art is just mwah! Back to the Future the game still does have an Amazon listing where they presumably sell just Steam codes, but right now they are all currently unavailable, meaning they're gone. But the anniversary edition and last gen physical copies are pretty reasonably priced, I'd say. But I have played another early 2010 beloved delisted Telltale Games franchise. Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people. I'm just kidding, that was 2008. I'm talking, of course, about The Walking Dead. You can no longer purchase Telltale Walking Dead games on Steam. If you search for it, all that comes up is the show, an escapist spin-off, the final season which is unavailable for purchase, DLC for Pinball FX2 VR, and a deluxe edition upgrade for Overkill's The Walking Dead, which has actually been delisted on its own, so it doesn't even make sense. Like that, and that delisting is unrelated to the whole Telltale, like, situation in general. That's like a Walking Dead license thing. I think. No, that's because it's so bad. Overkill's The Walking Dead got delisted because it was literally so bad. I can't remember if it was Robert Kirkman who is like, this is not good, or if it was the devs, but either way, this is weird. You can still go to the upgrade page, even put it in your cart. It lets you get as far as the payment method screen before stopping you because I do not own uninitialized. Weird. Why not just remove it? I guess if I owned the game I could continue, but I don't, so I see no need to experiment further. If I had no qualms currently about supporting a company like G2A, maybe, but you know, I mean, my parents taught me to take out my trash, not pay 31 euros for it, which is 35 USD on top of a $20 deluxe edition purchase just to experiment with delisting related purchases for the sake of a video. Blow up this video and we'll talk about it for part 2. Alright, but enough tangential information. The first 3 seasons of Telltale's Walking Dead games have just vanished from Steam, and according to Delisted Games, they disappeared off GOG 5 days after, in November of 2018. I think if you know what happened to Telltale Games, it's not that hard to figure out what happened. However, a digital collection is coming out exclusively to the Epic Game Store soon, so I don't know. Like I said, I'm conflicted about the Epic situation, besides thinking it's Epic Gamer Bacon, epic joke, haha. But my question here is like, where is that money going? To the 3 people still employed by Telltale Games? Hopefully to that severance pay, my boy. Whew. Hell, in October, they reportedly have been liquidating like every asset they have, and as of April have still been doing that. At least that's what Wikipedia said. I don't know, man. The Telltale situation's whack. I highly recommend George Weidman's Super Bunny Hop video about the whole situation. He really sums it up well, and it's a really entertaining video and super informative. Give it a go. Next. Speaking of
Shifty Deals
and property liquidation, this next game may shock you, not just at what IP it happens to be, but at the sheer lack of quality involved. It may just be the worst game on this list, visually. Kinda. That would be the Powerpuff Girls Defenders of Townsville.
The city of Townsville is under attack!
Delisted from Steam in March 2015, only about a year after its release. I came across the existence of this game doing research for this kind of a video about a year ago, and it was made to promote the 2014 Powerpuff Girls TV movie that had more CG character models. It was like a complete redesign. A big departure from the classic style, but I think it has its charm. You have the choice between playing as the original designs or the ones from the movie, but you know what? It's not attached to my Steam account, but I found this game, I found a way to play it, and I put it on my Steam grid. And then I picked classic style because of course I did. You can really tell it was made just for promotional purposes because boy, it shows with this quality cutscene here. All stills, no animation except for very slight movements. I haven't even brought myself to play that much of it initially because of just how astoundingly boring it is. Look at this mess. There's no textures. It's just so drab and brown and just disgusting. I just really easily tire of looking at this. I don't know what it is. Like, I've never really had that happen that much before in a game, but I just cannot look at that for that long. Like, I'm a visual person, so this is just awful. However, you might have noticed that I said this one was the worst visually earlier. And then I even added a kinda, and that's because this game has a saving grace, modern mode, which is contemporarily hilarious because of how modern Powerpuff Girls actually looks. But for real, modern mode saves this game. It just makes it more enjoyable with, you know, textures. Like, look at that. That's so much better. I'd actually sit down and play that. I mean, I did. I got through so much more in modern mode just because it looked so much better. Classic mode doesn't mean you need to just not have textures. What are you, insane? It pains me to say it because I'm such a huge fan of the original Powerpuff Girls series, but when it gets translated into this, I'm not gonna be singing its praises. But with the modern visuals, it basically fixes that problem, and I'm a fan of bullet hells, and this one's actually pretty decent and pretty challenging so far, even on normal mode. Like, I'm losing health. I remember a couple years ago playing just a bit of classic mode thinking this was all just a big trash heap. I'm glad it seems fine, other than the embarrassingly stiff cutscenes. It was made by Radian Games, who seem to be best known for low-profile twin-stick shooters, so I imagine they really didn't have much experience with that kind of thing. Which begs the question, why Delisted? Well, in March of 2014, it was released to coincide with the release of Dance Pants, a Powerpuff Girls TV movie with that modern art style that came out in January of that same year. Apparently they wanted a relaunch with that art style. I don't really see how a game 2 months after that TV movie would really do it, but I mean, apparently reception to that art style was pretty not great, so they decided to just kind of scrap it. The lukewarm reception, but them still wanting to reboot Powerpuff, led to what we consider the new Powerpuff Girls, Powerpuff 2016 or whatever people call it. Oh, Radiant Games even made their own statement, stating, it was delisted due to a new reboot, and we know the one. I actually hear the new show's mostly okay these days. If it's still airing, I'm pretty sure it is, I just don't know, but, that's the story with this one. Next. This one won't be too long an entry, but it'll be a fun one. I'm sure some of you will be familiar with the classic Genesis title, Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. It's beloved by people of all ages and is generally considered to be one of the best Genesis games, at least as far to my knowledge. I mean, I haven't really been keeping up with the hardcore Sega Genesis crowd, but back in the day, that's what I heard, okay? So, naturally, if Disney wants a property revival, why not remake one of their most well-received games? So that's exactly what they did, and we ate it up. And that's how we all effectively told Disney we'll eat whatever remake they throw at us. This little 2013 title gave us not only some, moderately fun platforming fun, but also more music by composer Grant Kirkhope, which you can never have too much of. So, much love to Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. The remake. Unfortunately, it only really did fine. It had mostly mediocre reception, which is ironic considering it's a remake of a beloved title. I mean, I mostly enjoyed the few hours I put into it however many years ago, so this one's tied to my account too. But the fact that I didn't finish it might say something. But in September of 2016, the game was removed from Steam due to something. It's thought that licensing between Sega and Disney might have done it, but apparently there's been no official statement really regarding its delisting. That's what makes this one interesting to me. They just kind of said, hey, it's gonna be off Steam soon, and everyone was like, duh, and rushed off to buy it. But Adam, you might say, why can I look this game up on Steam right now and see it right there for purchase unless something changed since this video was posted? And the answer to that, my humble viewer, is that this is an even more interesting case because it has been relisted on Steam. On March 30th, 2017, the game came back. On not just Steam, but Xbox and PlayStation as well, with, again, no announcement as to why. That's so weird, just the radio silence from the companies involved. You'd think they'd at least let people know so their sales could go up or something. And that's about it here. I just thought the lack of information was funny. Next. Room 404 was posted to Steam Greenlight on December 7th of 2015. They were greenlit on the 12th, released a demo on the 22nd, finished development in June of 2016, and was put up for purchase on the 21st of the same month. It was made by Machine Bear Games, a Brazilian indie dev company. And get ready, because this one is a whirlwind. All of this started because of Urban Legends, a horror game in a hospital with Jeff the Killer in it. This is another greenlit game of Machine Bears, which was greenlit on May 14th, 2014, and released on Steam January 30th of 2015. Going back in time a bit, try to keep those dates in your head. I got a key for it years ago in an Indie Gala bundle, and then later when I became interested in delisted games, I realized it was one of them. So I just began to look into the reasoning behind the delisting of every game tied to my account, Urban Legends included. And, get ready. Neither Urban Legends nor Room 404 are listed on delistedgames.com as of recording this video. They're only documented on different sites, which really only have a big list of delisted games, either sorted by name or date. When looking into this, I started by finding indie database pages for Machine Bear Games, along with Room 404 and Urban Legends. I've played a little bit of Urban Legends just to get a feel for it. I didn't even really get to see Jeff the Killer, except for him being in this ambulance that tried to run me over right at the start. You can turn around and just see him in there. He doesn't do anything. He a sleepy boy. It's clunky, not scary, and I couldn't figure out how to progress after I climbed through a vent for like 10 minutes. I just don't feel the need. So Urban Legends was posted with an asking price of $16, and keep in mind, this was greenlit directly into early access too. The game was not done. Not that that's, a bad early access price in general or anything, just for a game like that, $16 is a bit of an asking price, I'd say, personally. Especially for a game that, I feel like everyone's kind of played before. Everyone's played that type of game. So, you can even get a better experience with Slender, and that used to be free. But as time went on, things got funny. Looking through the archive between early 2015 and late 2016, I found posts talking about updates, delays, talking about delayed updates. Things are starting to look not so good. And then it happened. On October 21st, 2016, a new post was made on the Steam discussion page of Urban Legends. It was one of the devs saying that Urban Legends was going to be removed from the Steam store. It wasn't anywhere near finished, with serious and sudden problems having just delayed the dev team a lot, apparently. They said that if you sent them a receipt of your purchase of Urban Legends, you can get a key to their next game, Room 404, if wanted, of course. Their statement seems somber and honestly a bit genuine to my eyes, but however, people were not happy. I saw some claiming they never got keys for Room 404, never heard back from the devs, some questioning the intent of the developers, calling it a scam, others just posting in-game screenshots of Jeff the Killer, which, of course, I upvoted. Apparently there was a price drop from $16 to $7 at one point, so yippee! You get people who had it wishlisted or, had it on their radar to buy it, and then at the same time, get people who had just bought it for full price mad at you. It's a win-win. Nah, but legit, it seems like people were kind of understandably upset here. It's a mess, and I could only imagine the pressure one would be under as an indie dev in this kind of situation, but it's overall, it's still not much of a good look. But faithful supporters of Machine Bear waited with bated breath, and eventually, Room 404 was delivered, with an asking price of $15 apparently. You'll see how I know that shortly. Now, I understand, many things can go wrong in game development, especially in a situation with something as new as Greenlight, where a very, very small indie team gets a lot of support, a lot of money out of nowhere, and then they have this enormous pressure on their backs to carry games that aren't even finished, and that probably just kills it for a lot of people, I could imagine, at least. But to follow up the tumultuous road Urban Legends was, would they be able to deliver? In quality, or in the sense of how wild the situation was? Well, kind of. Long ago, I acquired a key to Room 404 through means I no longer support, so I was able to give it a go. Hello, I'm Adamnator, and I play it so you don't have to. The finger was early, but you get the point. All I can say is it's certainly an indie horror game. Now, definitely not as bad as Urban Legends though. It is a step up, especially visually. The production value is definitely here with it taking advantage of Unreal Engine 4. However, the problems are absolutely glaring, so let me just run you through my experience real quick.
This is what happens when your son's life is taken away from you, I guess.
It starts up on an awkward voiceover, not too big a deal, it's an indie game, whatever. You're a dad trying to find the murderer of your kid, who killed him in Room 404 while your wife was there too at some hotel they were at. Okay, that's dark, whatever, still, moving on. We got long loading times. Graphical problems when turning corners, I don't even know what to call that. Wilhelm's screaming women as well as sometimes specters, potentially related to the mythical Always Always. Weirdly postured jump scare people, fleshy floor bits, and some sick curtain physics, accompanied by some epic god rays. Yo, is that ray tracing? Is that RTX? We got big water splashes for small droplets. Apparently we just know that this fully incinerated literal skeleton is the hotel owner, woman's intuition or something.
No, please, no.
If If they can do that kind of screaming, then why Wilhelm? Water turning red when you walk through it? That's actually kind of dope, honestly. Big boy, big door glitches. And finally, a hair elevator. Hairlevator. That's my long lost cousin, Hairlevator. How you doing? Oh, what's up, Adamnator? Yeah, no, not doing that bit. I'd love to goofily name things from later in the game as well. There are a total of 5 acts in this game. But I only got to play 3, because after the Hairlevator, I just crashed. I think the Hairlevator did too, but you know. It's what happens when a bunch of hair just grows out of the bottom of the elevator. 99 times out of 100, that elevator's crashing. Like, this is proven stuff. Elevator scientists are trying to prevent this, but there's just too many cases happening right now for them to really get a hold of the situation. Just don't enter elevators for the foreseeable future and it won't happen to you. No, but it really was so bad that I had to Alt-Tab out and like go over to the taskbar and close on my other monitor. If I had one monitor, I don't even want to know how long that thing would just have black screen for. I tried it again thinking it might have been a fluke, and same thing. I thought maybe it's because I'm on high, lowered my graphics to low, and I still get the same result. And wow, the game doesn't save your graphics configuration apparently. That's nice. But even on those low settings, it still crashed on me. But I mean, you know what they say, desperate times call for desperate measures. So I don't know, I mean, maybe this will help or something. Yeah, that's right. No love for Overkill or G2A, but when it comes to Room 404, we dropping hundreds. I guess I'll just, do it. Okay, I'm okay. I mean, we seem to be good. It was worth a shot, and you know, a couple $100. That's okay though. I had already found a Twitch streamer who had played through the ending a few years ago. So shoutouts to Dan's Gaming, and you know, his live reaction probably sums it up better than I ever could.
I miss you, Dad.
What the
Save
fuck?
me. Save my mother.
What the
Your
fuck?
wife. Kill her.
What the fuck?
Kill yourself.
Refund! Refund, demon! Be back! Refund! Oh my god, 4 more. Oh, fuck. 4 more things to fucking do that are the same thing? Oh. I can't believe this is $15. Oh my god.
But then, according to my research and the folks at removed.timekillers.eu, on the fateful day of February 7th, 2017, Room 404 was removed, seemingly without a word from the dev team, or at least without one I can find anyway. I'd like to think it wasn't a scam and that the devs were really just a super small team of people, you know, put upon by the pressures of Greenlight and having to make another game. Especially with how active you can see them being trying to fix people's bugs in both the Urban Legends and Room 404 days. Go look at those forum posts. They're there talking about bugs, saying they're now fixed and talking about patches and stuff. It's so bizarre. Again, seeing no word from them about the loss of Room 404 leaves me skeptical. This kind of stuff is fascinating to me because while a good bit of the games we talked about today were available through other means than Steam, you know, whether that be at other digital marketplaces or physical releases, games like Room 404 and Powerpuff are now considered extinct, meaning that since there wasn't a physical release made and for the fact that you can't legally access it anywhere else, the average consumer will never have an opportunity to play them. The Legend of Korra, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, even the PS1 JoJo fighting game that was remastered into HD on PS3, you can't buy it anymore. All of these are unavailable to play for most people who didn't happen to nab them while they were available. And as time goes on, the amount of people who didn't play them are going to, you know, ultimately outproportion the people who had it. And I'm not even speaking to their quality. I just think the fact that they're gone, for the most part, is pretty upsetting. I mean, sure, there's piracy, but there are tons of problems that aren't just moral ones that come with that. So I think most people would rather there be a legitimate method to play these games, and there just isn't. Art preservation is pretty important to me. And, you know, while thinking about this kind of stuff can be pretty demoralizing, at least we can all rest assured in the fact that both Brian Lee O'Malley and Anamanaguchi have gone on record saying that they want Scott Pilgrim re-released. Ubisoft, Universal, man, where are you at? Let me know what you thought of this video and this style of video in general in those comments down below. And let me know if you have a delisted game attached to your Steam account. It's pretty likely that you do. You know, even if it's as mundane as, I don't know, Poker Night at the Inventory or Lego The Hobbit. Those are both kind of neat to have. And tell me if this topic's interesting enough to warrant a part 2 down the line as well, because Papanator has a 1660 Ti to pay off. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video I just finished editing. There's more around that you could give a watch. So enjoy those, and thanks for sticking around this long in this one. Enjoying it so much, you freaking weirdo.